This conference will now be recorded.
All right, well, good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight for our third College Knowledge Night of the year. This one is entitled The Benefits of Attending a Historically Black College and University, or HBCU. We're really excited to have some really outstanding guests joining us tonight. We have Caleb Collins, who works in admissions at Xavier University of Louisiana, which is the only Catholic HBCU in the nation. So we're really grateful to have him join us today. We also have Dr. Kendra Prevost. I've worked with Dr. Prevost for a number of years now. I think going on about 5 years in my role at BL. She's been a parent every year. So she's really been a driver in helping me with, promoting HBCUs at Bishop Lynch. And we're great to have her as um, a great great person in our community. We also have her daughter Sadia Prevost. She was your class 2022, right? And she's
Yes,
at
I am.
okay, great. And she's at FAMU right now, Florida A&M University. We also have Miss Fields, who is the head of our science department, and also you are the moderator for our Pan African Club as well, correct? And now a basketball coach. So kind of doing everything. And Ms. Fields brought our Pan African Club last year down to Houston Tillotson University down in Austin. So trying to really get that exposure out there for our families. But I do want to kick it off with Caleb Collins and Xavier University and just a little bit about what Xavier has to offer.
All right, well, thank you so much. My name is Caleb Collins. I am from Terry, Mississippi originally. I'm a graduate of Xavier University of Louisiana. I graduated in the spring semester of this year with a biology pre-med degree, and I am going to continue my education here at Xavier with getting my MPH. So a little bit about Xavier University of Louisiana. We are the only Black Catholic HBCU in the world, and also a little bit about our history. We were founded and formed in 1925 by St. Catherine Drexel and the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament. And so, a little bit about our history is that we are a great school when it comes to not only pouring into our people, but also bringing people in so they can learn and be invested into not only as an individual, but as a prospect in this society. So, a little bit about what we have here at Xavier. Well, we're number one across the board in bachelor degrees in biological and biomedical science, physical science, and physics, as well as we are number one in the nation for African Americans graduating medical school. We're also number six HBCU in the nation, as well as we're in Louisiana for getting a job. Also, we have the number three spot in the nation when it comes to social mobility, as well as all of these different things that we offer for our students are very conducive for them growing and also being acclimated into just the community here, and not only in our community here at Xavier in New Orleans, but also across the board. So when it comes down to our class sizes and how what you will see once you come here to Xavier, is we have an 11 to 1 student to faculty ratio. What does this mean? Well, in our classrooms, depending on what major you or what department you are in, fluctuate the amount of people that will be in a classroom. For a biology major, you will have about 20 students to one professor, and this number can fluctuate depending on the program. But what this number gives you is out of 1 to 20 people in a classroom, you have direct access to your instructor. So what does this mean? Well, this means that you will be valued as an individual and not just a number. So when you come into this classroom, not only can you interact with your professors, but you can also interact with the people around you and form great study groups, good study habits, as well as lifelong connections with the people that you're in class with. A lot of my friendships that I formed throughout my year at Xavier happened in the classroom because I had direct access to the people who were around me, and we all had direct access to the material we were learning. As well as that, all new students to Xavier University will receive 100% financial assistance. Well, what does this mean? As soon as you apply to Xavier, we're going to already consider you for some merit-based scholarship. And so with this merit-based scholarship comes some numbers, and we'll get into that the next slide. Also, we have 14 NAIA Division One athletics here. Also, my time at Xavier, I was a baseball athlete. So during that experience, and I also got to see the reboot of the program as well as the program growing as it has continued to grow over the years. So it's so many different things that we offer as an institution, as well as having a 3,100 student enrollment rate here at Xavier. Yes, this number might seem smaller, but it's an intimate number because we believe in investing to every student who comes into our program, but also giving them what they need to go out and be a model citizen. So what about our academic programs? Well, we have over 50 academic programs here that we offer to our students. And I'll just run through a few of them right now. With our business department, we have something called X Incubator. So what this is we'll give a student in our business department a stipend, we'll give them a mentor, and we'll teach them how to build up a business while they're here at Xavier. So by the time they graduate, they have all that they need to go out and have a full functioning business by the time they graduate. As well as our biology department is our largest department here at Xavier. A lot of well-known medical staff have come through this field, have come through this program, and have went out into the world to do great things. Along with which, we also offer pre-professional programs like our pre-dentistry, pre-law, pre-medicine, pre-pharmacy, and pre-veterinary medicine. These aren't majors, but these are professional programs that make sure you get all the prerequisites you need in order to go into whatever program you choose once you get to that point. So we make sure you hit everything. We make sure that you have study material. We even make sure that our students have the MCAT or LSAT or whatever material they may need for those accredited tests as well. With our education department, that is the oldest department we have at our institution. And in this education department, as a first-time freshman, you walk into an opportunity where you can go and actually intern and have in-classroom experience here at Xavier. So your first year as a student, your first semester, you're already getting your hands into what it means to be an actual teacher and what it means to actually interact with students within a classroom. And that's a great experience for those who are endeavoring into education. Now, we also have fine arts in that as well. And we have something here with our fine arts programs where we do an art gallery in our administration building. In that building, students can go out and see all the artwork that has been created by the faculty and student body throughout the years and have it showcased through our galleries continually through the years. So our students have opportunities to go by and see all these great artworks that all the students have put into place and all the things that they are continually creating, as well as we have the opportunity where our students can actually produce their own music on campus as well, that our music building is open for all our students to go in and come out and do music as well as they would like to. Secondly, we have our second largest department, which is our math and physical sciences department, where we have our chemistry, robotics, all the way down to our computer science programs. And in this major, you will have a lot of great opportunities to not only do research alongside your professors, but also have distinct opportunities where you can get into computer designing. We have all options for our students to get into robotics through STEM NOLA, where we have a partnership with the program STEM NOLA, where our students actually have direct access to interning and also working with students on how to build certain things out and how to create programming for certain programs. As well as we also offer dual degree programs here as well. And these dual degree programs will be called 3-2 programs. And what do I mean by the 3-2 program is you'll do 3 years here at Xavier, and then you'll do 2 years at an accredited other institution, whether it be a PWI or HBCU. A few of the HBCUs that we are tied into are North Carolina A&T. I think we might also have partnerships with FAMU as well. But these are opportunities where you can get 2 degrees in 5 years. And this is a great opportunity for anyone that is trying to get into the engineering field as well. And also we have our social behavior programs as well, from our mass comm all the way down to our sociology. And with our programs over here, we allow our students to actually have hands-on work within the school work. So in our mass comm department, our students are allowed to go to our sporting events and take pictures. And a lot of their photography is used for a lot of what you see on our website. A lot of the pictures that you'll see actually on the slide were actually taken by some of our student bodies. So we are all about bringing what our students bring to the table and bringing them in and allowing them to showcase everything they can do, as well as every other major that we offer within this um, group right here. Is all our teachers are accredited and all our teachers have worked in this field that they are teaching our students about. So we have a lot of accredited teachers who come in and pour back into the students because they have also received something from us as well, as far as like being built up and invested in what we have here at Xavier. And we also have a college of pharmacy, which is very diverse and very multifaceted in what we have here. That in this college of pharmacy, you can also earn a associate degree while getting your PharmD, or you can get a bachelor's degree while getting your PharmD. So you have multiple options in this field as well. And we also have graduate programs from counseling all the way down to theology. So if any of our panelists would like to go back to school and get a second degree, hey, we have all that you can have here as well. So as we continue on, here are our merit-based scholarships. So for all first-time freshmen, no test scores required, you can receive between $5,000 to $20,000 in merit-based scholarship. And this is without receiving any test scores because we are a test optional school. During COVID, we made this adjustment so that we can evaluate students more holistically because we know it was a trying time and a hard time for students to acclimate to the changes. And so we made changes so that our students could be accommodated for everything that they're going into. And so if this change, we are test optional. And so for transfer students, you can get between $3,000 to $12,000 in merit-based scholarship. Now, when it comes down to our premier scholarships, we do all ask that our students would send in their test scores for requirement. This is just the requirement that we have for this because in these scholarships, you get full tuition and fees for the presidential scholarship, and then for the board of trustees scholarship, you get full tuition, fees, and room and board. And so a lot of the things that we offer here at Xavier are all about making sure our student body has enough funding when it comes to endeavoring after an education career or going after academics because we know that this thing can be costly. We know that going to school can be long. And so we want to make sure that our students are supported their entire pathway through. And so we have a priority deadline of December 1st on our applications. Now, with this priority deadline, this does not mean that this is the end of the deadline. What this means is this is how much money you can be considered for at this deadline. So December the 1st, that's when we will ask for, but we are rolling admissions. So that means that after the December 1st deadline, we continually receive applications and we continually review applications after that deadline as well. And if you all will scan the QR code, it'll take you to an index that'll show you the breakdown of where you are following the list with your GPA or with your test scores and GPA. And as we consider, this is how we go about applying. First, you will submit an application through zula.edu/apply, or you can go through Common App, and it's for our freshmen only. And our application process is free. There's no money tied to our application process that you lose nothing applying. Actually, you gain everything because you will be considered for money even through applying. Also, secondly, the things that we require for all our students who apply are a official high school transcript, one letter of a recommendation, and then for our freshmen, we will ask that they will send in an essay if they do not choose to do test scores. And give me 1 second, I do apologize. And so for our first time freshmen, if you do not send in a test score, and for our transfer students, if you do not send in a test score, we will ask that you submit an essay. But if not, then you can submit test scores. You will not have to do that as well. And these are just a few things that you can know about us. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok at Zula Admissions, as well as you can scan that QR code to join our mailing list, and anything that we have in additional information we can send out to you as well. And that is everything on the admission side. If you all have any questions for me, I'm open to answer any questions.
Great. Thanks, Caleb. One thing I do want to ask you is, from your side of things as, as an admissions professional, what is the advice you would give to students, from a admission side of things when they're going through the application process, when they're going through the entire search process, when they're looking at HBCUs?
Great question. I would say the first thing that I would recommend for students to do is to read up on the information that is available for you. A lot of the things that you need to know about what it means to apply, what the school has to offer, is housed directly within our websites. And so I would advise for all students who are considering applying to take a quick browse through all the information that we have broadcasted on the website. And then from there, you can ask additional questions by calling or emailing and sorts like that.
Great. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Fields. She's going to kind of handle our panel and everything, and send some questions out, and kind of provide you all with the resources you might need. I'm here if you all need anything, but Miss Fields, you want to take it away?
Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ms. Fields. I am over our Pan Africa program at Bishop Lynch. We have about 66 students at our school, so that's kind of exciting for us. And one of the things we do is we coordinate events. We have an event in February. We're also trying to have an event this year for them in October. But we just try to expose our students to everything that's out there. Last year, We took a trip to Austin, and this year in the spring, we also want to take another trip to a different HBCU. We just want to bring our kids and have them exposed. Last year, a lot of our kids got to apply on site, so I know you guys will have things like that, so that's pretty cool. But I'm going to ask you guys just general questions, and anyone can chime in from student to parent to admissions. So my first one is, tell me about the emphasis of education when you go to an HBCU. A lot of kids will wonder, what does that mean for me? Why would I go to an HBCU? What's the emphasis on education? And anybody can chime in. I have about 8 questions here. Yasmin, it looked like you were trying to say something, were you?
I was just asking what was the question again. How was education emphasized at HBCUs?
Yes. So when you think about education, like our students, they're at a predominantly white institution. And so our students are asking themselves, why would I go to an HBCU? What's the education standpoint for me? Because most of them have been in a Catholic, predominantly white institutes from K through 12. So what does that look like for them going to an HBCU from the education standpoint, if that makes sense?
That does make sense. I don't know if I have the right answer for that, but
No wrong answer.
I was a Xavier graduate as well. So when I was there, they weren't as heavy on the sport and extracurricular. So I saw everybody on campus. It wasn't just predominantly Black like you would think, because Xavier has a pharmacy school there. So I saw Asian, white, and I liked how small the classes were versus a PWI, which has larger classes. So I know Caleb mentioned it was like 11 to 1. Like, that's even better than when I was there. It was like 20 to 1. So just having that immediate support that's there. And if you're out of state, the relationships that you'll build with your professors and just the student body, they really take care of students that come from not the state that the college is in. So, and then they have all those additional support. So if you're not the strongest student, they even accept you and they'll help build you up. There's a ton of study labs. I know Caleb mentioned study groups. I just feel like it's more, how do you say that? Smaller group, intimate, that's the word. Intimate group to work with. So you should totally go to an HBCU.
I have an answer. So my daughter Sadia is a junior right now at FAMU, and I was trying to take that QR code because I actually have a senior at Bishop Lynch, and I'm trying to tell her to get on this Zoom because she applied to Xavier. We're still waiting on our decision right now, and I was trying to get that QR code about to find exactly how much you're gonna get. But it didn't. I have to figure out the information, fill out the rest of the information. But I can say that me personally, I went to a predominantly white high school, is like Sadia did, and I was taking all like the honors classes and stuff like that when I went there, and I was very surprised when I came to Xavier that everybody there had been doing the same thing. So they were smart too. So I wasn't like the smartest person in the class, nowhere near the smartest person in class. And so I learned that I have all these people across the world that are just like me, that are Black, that are good in academics, that take academics seriously. And one thing about Xavier, they do not have step on education. I mean, like, I can't even, Xavier professors do not play. They are very rigorous. You cannot get extra credit. There's no such thing as extra credit. Doing extra work, turning in something extra to get whatever grade it is what it is. And that's one thing I learned about Xavier. There is no shortcuts. Now, Sadia goes to FAMU. It's a public university, is a little bit different. She might be able to go to the office hours and do a little extra stuff, but the rigor of Xavier, for your education standpoint, is something I personally experienced. And I always tell Sadia, I was like, you go to a public university, it's a lot different from going to, a school like Xavier, which is a Catholic university, just like going to a public school and going to Bishop Lynch. It's the exact same thing. So as far as HBCU in general, it's just the same way you categorize public university, private university. It's the same way you characterize public HBCU as opposed to Catholic or private HBCU. But as far as my rigor, when I graduated from Xavier as a pharmacist, I was questioning, did these people even go to school? Because I felt like my education was so superior at Xavier than I did when I started getting my light, when I went out into the profession in the real world. I was like, I felt like I was better than everybody else because of what I learned at Xavier. You have smaller classes, and so you get to study with your peers. You get to know y'all work together. So I felt like I was more than prepared for my profession personally.
And I could also answer as well, coming from just being a recent graduate of Xavier and also working here at the school. There is a misnomer across the board when it comes to education is if you go to a HBCU, you're going to a school that is a step down from a PWI, but that is incorrect. That's false because when I stepped on the campus of Xavier, not only did I get opened up to more, but I found out that the wealth of knowledge that remained in this place, and let alone just in HBCUs in general, is a lot more vast than what people give it credit for. But through the dense history that's here, through the professors who have actually served and worked in these professions that they are teaching you about, they make sure you have everything that you need to succeed as a student. Not only are these teachers accredited, these teachers have also put in countless hours going back to school to get doctorate degrees, getting their PhDs. They have gotten the education that they need to come back and pour into the students. And so when people say that, why should I go to an HBCU versus a PWI, is because again, as Fubu says, it's for us by us. But not only is it for us and by us, it's also everything that you would need to be comfortable or even above the competition. Because coming out of Xavier, I've had a wealth of opportunities just having a Xavier degree under my belt. So that as a student and transitioning out of being a student into the workforce holds a lot of weight because a lot of people will think a PWI is greater than an HBCU. But in my opinion, I feel like they are neck and neck and even almost above what the competition has to offer because we put a lot more time into our students.
That's awesome. You guys have answered a couple of my questions in there, so good job. I think you hit on a lot of the things. I'm going to ask you to transition to what does the athletic side, or what does it look like for a student? Because now that's the classroom, but what does it look like? What are the kids doing on their weekends, their days off? You guys have mentioned a lot of group time and family times and getting to know people and feeling that love, or as Yasmin said, that intimate setting. But just tell the students who are watching just a little bit more about that outside extracurricular life, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am, of course. So a few different things that
Wait,
I will highlight
Sadia
about
started
what we,
smiling. I feel like we
ma'am.
should let her go because Sadia started smiling. I want to hear what she has to say.
Yes, okay. I go to FAMU. It is in Tallahassee. Tallahassee doesn't particularly have much to do, but I would definitely say the students make it. Like just hanging out with people, talking to people in your classes, they definitely do make the most of the fun. And there's also a lot of stuff going on campus. FAMU has like over 200 clubs and organizations. There's always something to do on campus or off campus, just hanging out with friends. And I really enjoy it though. So I would say you really have to make the most of your experience.
Caleb, sorry to cut you off. Her big smile, though, made me know she really had something she wanted to say, so I wanted to hear it. Sorry, Caleb.
I know, ma'am, it's no problem. It's no problem. A few things that I would like to mention is we have an Xavier activities board here, and so they make sure that our students have things that they can do not only throughout the week, but in addition to what comes after the week, which is the weekend. And so, starting off the weekend right on Fridays, they hold a live music Fridays. And so, what they'll do is they'll bring out live performances, they'll bring out vendors, they'll bring out food, and all this is free of charge for our student body. And then, in addition to that as well, we're in the city of New Orleans, so we have festival seasons, we have Mardi Gras, we have Jazz Fest, we have all these different opportunities for our students to get involved. And not only that, is our school offers free tickets to marketing rate tickets for Pelican games and Saint games. So you can get a $10 ticket to a Pelicans game, or you can get a $10 ticket to a Saints game. And also, they may give you an opportunity where you can get one free of charge, as well as having NOMA, which is an art museum here in the city as well. And so students have all these opportunities to get interactive in the city. And so even through that as well, the school offers programs and opportunities for our students to actually partake in festival season, as far as our marching band partaking in Mardi Gras, as well as our Golden Starlets, which is our dance team, also taking part in that as well. In addition to that, we also have our gospel choir and liturgical dance, and the liturgical choir, which has an opportunity to go and perform during Jazz Fest, and those things. Our interfaith chaplain here, Dr. Reverend Mitchell Stevens, is over the gospel choir, and he has done a lot of things with his gospel choir, taking them out to the Jazz Fest to perform. And so there's a wealth of things that students can get involved in outside of just campus life.
Can I just add, at any HBCU you go to, homecoming and the Spring Fest, best events ever, week-long events. Alumni is there too. They put on concerts, fashion shows, and you get to plan this if you're on the board for it. So I just think that's also needed to be added in addition to that Live Music Friday, which had crawfish. Ooh, my favorite part.
Yeah, and I'm celebrating my 30-year graduation from Xavier College of Pharmacy, and I will be there November 7th through the 9th. I don't know. I just realized I just found out recently that PWIs don't have a homecoming. I did not know that. They don't call a homecoming. They do? Okay. I didn't know they do it because somebody asked me what was a homecoming, and I was confused
Yeah,
as to why they were asking me what was a homecoming. I'm like, it's a
that
game.
happened to me. Cause I had a friend and I met her like it was over the summer, and then we were talking about homecoming. Like it was me and my other friend and another boy. He went to HBCU, and we were talking about homecoming. She was like, "What is that?" And she went to like Texas Tech or like A&M, one of those schools.
Call
She
it
didn't
like
know.
their tailgates and their big
Yeah,
games,
she
or
was like,
yeah,
"What's
like
the
they call it like
homecoming?"
that. I think they call it like their tailgates. I think. But
Well,
I went to
homecoming is a little
University
bit
of
different
Memphis.
from a tailgate. Tailgate is every game. Homecoming is only one game.
I, I went to the University of Memphis, and we had homecoming. So I don't know if that's all of them, but I went to the University of Memphis, which is a PWI, and they had. But Memphis could be a little bit mixed. You could almost say it's not a PWI, but it is.
I
All
one
right.
time
So
visited the University of Notre Dame, and they specifically said they don't have homecoming because every football Saturday in South Bend is a homecoming. So
uh,
it's
yeah,
definitely. And I went to Western Michigan, and homecoming was a
yeah,
thing, but it wasn't really a thing, if that
yeah.
makes sense.
What about, because you guys hit a lot of, I'm going to ask one particular question about what about if I play football, I play basketball, I play volleyball, I run track. Did any of you guys do any sports, or can you tell me a little bit about sports at the HBCUs in general?
Oh,
I didn't play sports, so I can't talk on this one. I do know Xavier just had basketball, but we were at those basketball and volleyball games.
I was a baseball athlete here at Xavier, and so I played for 4 years here. And during my 4 year time, that was a eye-opening experience, because everybody sees what it looks like on the internet. Everybody sees what it looks like on a social scale, but they don't see the day in, day out aspects of it. Coming to a school that is rigorous, that is all about its academics, but also cherishes its students' well-being, there is a structure that you have to come used to once you start. If you have early morning practices, a lot of the sports teams here, early morning practices are just the thing that they do, because that's when you get everything in. So you have early morning lifts or early morning practice all the way up to class right after it, then weight room sessions right in the middle of the day, going back to other classes. You kind of get used to the rigor of not only putting your body under subjection, but also putting your grades up there as well. So everything is on its discipline level. But the faculty, they make sure that their athletes are accommodated. So when we are traveling away, they make sure that we have adequate time to get our tests done. They also schedule out additional times where we can come to office hours and take our exams. I know I had to take probably, yeah, my senior year, I probably took every last one of my exams in the spring semester in an office hours, because we were always on the road or had a competition on the days that we had scheduled exams. As well as newly here at Xavier, we have also, in our second year of having a soccer team, it started off as an intramural, It started off as an intramural sport here, and it was actually integrated into our NAIA Division One programs. And so we have a lot of things in our intramural programs that are actually becoming a part of our collegiate sports. And so over the near years, we could actually see sports like football, golf, and all those things be added onto what we see as a collegiate level. We know we used to have football, but right now, currently, we do not have football. But that is a thing that they're trying to see if they can get back to the campus. But those things always take intentional conversations. But as a student athlete here as well, I think it's doable. It just takes a lot of focus and a lot of determination to see it through.
Caleb, did you have a scholarship from Xavier on baseball? I'm just curious to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My last question, you guys have kind of hit on it, but if anybody wants to add, I was going to talk about the networking opportunities connected to the corporate sponsorships. One of the things I'm always impressed about HBCUs is I think, like you guys said, not only do you come out better than most people, but you come out on top. And so businesses are always recruiting and looking for you guys. So did you want to talk about the networking ability as you go through? What does that look like while you're a student? And then how does that look for corporate partnerships as you go into the work world?
Well, I can speak on when I graduated 20 some years ago from Xavier, all of us graduated with a job as a pharmacist. They all came, they had a day where all the pharmacies, all the people that were hiring pharmacists came to Xavier. We got to sit with each company that we wanted, and every company sent us an offer letter. So every single person in my class got a job before they graduated. It was not a person that did not get an offer letter. In fact, I got an offer letter from somebody I didn't even interview with. My husband, who my boyfriend at the time, he interviewed with Walgreens in Dallas, which is where we live, and I was like, I didn't really know much about Dallas, but he interviewed with Walgreens, and he was like, oh, my girlfriend probably want to go too, and so I got an offer letter, and I didn't even interview to come to Dallas, and we ended up here in Dallas, and they with the signing bonus, relocation package, the whole nine. So they came to Xavier. Matter of fact, the Walgreens that are open in Dallas right now were opened by Xavier pharmacists. Like I can name every pharmacy and tell you which pharmacists that I graduated with that moved us here and opened up the Walgreens. So they came to Xavier to hire pharmacists to move us here to start Walgreens in Dallas because they had no Walgreens in Dallas at that time. So what I say is that yes, when these companies go look for top Black talent, they go to the HBCU. That's where they're going to get the top Black talent to diversify whatever situation they're trying to do. So I've never heard of people graduating without a job because pretty much everybody in my class had a job before we graduated.
Yes, and also at FAMU, I'm in the business school. I would say the business school is really big on internships. So for us to graduate from the business school, you have to have 2 internships. So I would say that also sets you up for having a career outside, like after you graduate. And also we do something called forum. So Tuesday and Thursdays, all the people in the business school, we have to dress up in suits, and we go to like the hall, Lee Hall, and a company comes and talks about their company, and basically like they offer internships too. So after like we learn more about the company, if we're interested, we can apply. And it's also a good networking opportunity. And this week, actually Wednesday, so tomorrow, we were supposed to have a career fair. But there's a hurricane coming in Florida now, so it's getting canceled. Yeah, but we have a career fair. So basically, it's like hundreds of companies come and they set up, and we can just go speak to all the different companies, learn more about them, and it gives us like a really good opportunity to apply for internships. Because also, if you apply like for the company, you can get like called back and like interview like the next day if you're like one of the top picks for a company. But I would say FAMU definitely has a lot of opportunities for internships to definitely help you set you up for a career after graduation.
I'll say at Old Xavier, I had to walk through exams and a hurricane to get there. That was Norman C. Francis times though. Networking wise, so I have a spiel. So I was an education major, so they put you in all these different schools in New Orleans to observe, and that's how you networked with those principals and teachers. And they always came to speak to us. And similar to that business school, I know the business schools always had corporations coming to speak to them, and they had to wear their blazers and stuff. And I know Caleb mentioned entrepreneurship mentorship. I know that was a big thing at Xavier as well, so you network that way. I had a friend who was a sociology major and political science. I think she was just sociology. But she works for the mayor of New Orleans for the past 7 years, however long she's been mayor for. And pharmacy school, they already talked about that. Science, everybody left either going to medical school or with a job somewhere, whether it was teaching or working at different corporations. The computer science majors, which is a big field right now, Google would come to us and look for people. Like those big tech companies would come to campus trying to recruit you. So that is also true. So there's always things for you to network. I hosted an HBCU panel at the school I teach at a couple weeks ago, and I even networked there. I met 9 different alumni from other HBCUs. There was a lady she got so much money going to an HBCU that she said the government had to tell her to stop accepting scholarship money. So she created her own scholarship fund to help others go to college for free. She like super believes in free college. I didn't pay for anything at Xavier. I had the presidential scholarship, and then they always found some type of scholarship for me throughout the year. Like my junior year, I got another scholarship that paid for my last 2 years and my master's program at Xavier. So there's money everywhere. Study abroad, they push you to do study abroad, which is more networking internationally, and they pay you to go abroad. Do not miss out on that opportunity because I was very sad that I did not do that. But there's opportunities everywhere. You could just turn the corner and network with somebody. And I think HBCUs open you up so you're not as shy to network. Like you have those skills to go up to someone and start a conversation. That's all it takes.
And in addition, I could add, um, for our business majors here, they graduate with a job offer from 100 from Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 companies. I know a lot of my friends who are part of the business program here actually are working in some of those companies now as well. Some have gone to be coaches fresh out and things like that as well. But also from my experience here, while I was my undergrad, I had the opportunity to be an emerging leader with the American Diabetes Association. So they allowed me to go and be a part of that. And so now currently I am still a part of the American Diabetes Association, and I do work with them, and I'm very networked in that area as well, to where I've gotten to meet the CEO of the organization as well, hold events at Xavier for the organization. So the networking opportunities you get through an HBCU is just uncomparable to anywhere else.
My last question, Caleb, you touched on it earlier, and Yasmin, you just touched on it, is just about financial aid. I know a lot of parents, just people in general right now, they're worried about being able to afford it. And you guys have said multiple times that they do a whole lot to make sure that if this is what you want, that you have the finances. Does anyone want to add anything to it? Tell a story about the time they were worried and what the school did or anything like that, or how you felt as a freshman when you applied, because parents, you said, Dr. Provost, you're already looking at Xavier like, we want to know too. It's a big question, right? What does this look like for us in the fall? So can you guys talk about the financial part for me?
Well, I can
Yes,
speak
ma'am.
on me personally. I went to Xavier on a scholarship. I had like a partial scholarship. It covered like three-fourths of my tuition. Um, And then later on, I got what they called a disadvantaged scholarship or disadvantaged something, where if you have a certain level of need not met, they just gave me a whole bunch of money. So I did graduate with student loan debt, but it was not that much. Now, as far as my daughter is concerned, Sadia, she was able to get a presidential scholarship with FAMU, which covered all her tuition and a um, out of state waiver for her tuition. And then her second semester, because she earned a 4.0 her freshman year, she was able to get a Silicon Valley bank scholarship, which completely covers everything. So Sadia's going to school with for nothing. She doesn't pay a dime. She doesn't pay for books. She doesn't pay for any type of fees. She doesn't pay for. She pays $0, and is going to graduate from FAMU with her bachelor's, because she's actually going to finish her undergraduate this year. She's going to stay at FAMU, get her MBA her 4th year, and she's going to graduate in 4 years with an MBA and a BS with 0 debt. So she got extremely. Now, our other daughter, we are still looking for money. So her major is chemical engineering. And I know Xavier has a 3-2 program with Tulane and other universities. So we're right now very hopeful. We're applying for. A lot of people don't know what HBCUs gives you access to the UNCF and TMCF scholarships, and they are very generous, extremely generous, and they do only fund those HBCUs. And so we are actively applying for my daughter, and I know we're going to eventually get the money, because HBCUs are actually cheaper than most PWIs, just the regular tuition. Honestly, I think FAMU per semester, just the tuition in state in Florida, is only like $3,700 per semester. That's how cheap it is. I think North Carolina A&T is just as inexpensive. So one thing about it is that most HBCUs are very affordable compared to somewhere like Bishop Lynch. We already pay $23,000 a year at Bishop Lynch. So it's not going to kill me to pay $20,000 for my child's college education if I'm paying it already in high school. So but we are looking for money.
I put in the chat the link to that Dr. Angel is what she goes by because she's a doctor. But if you go to that website, that's where you can apply for her scholarship. And she's also always posting about other scholarship opportunities. Like, I didn't know you could get a scholarship for wearing glasses. Apparently she got that. Yes, it's a real thing. I missed out on money. So scholarships are there for you. And that's all I had to say on that part. I don't have any financial advice besides make sure your essay is great. And that my one story is during, maybe Caleb can remind me of the name of it. It's like during the first week convocation, I think is what it's called, when everybody gets together, like the freshmen. So there was a kid crying on the admin staircase because he was going to have to leave Xavier because he couldn't afford it. Like, some scholarship he got didn't come through, whatever happened. And Dr. Norman C. Francis, my dude, he was walking past because the president's in the admin building. He saw this student, he talked with the student, and he was able to cover that tuition for that student that year. So you just never know who can give you some money.
I also have a similar story. My I believe my sophomore year here, I ran into a snag with having enough funds to go to school, and I was at risk of having everything taken away. And so I reached out to our vice president here, and I asked if there were any additional opportunities where I could either work for the institution or do anything. And so what he did for me is he allowed me to come alongside him and do a Magnificent Male mentoring program. And so through that effort, we was able to reboot the Magnificent Male mentoring program here, and actually students that come through the Magnificent Male program get conditional admission. They also get a scholarship, which is named Magnificent Male. And so I was able to get funding through that as well. And also for students who have a certain amount of unmet needs, they allow you to do federal work study through FAFSA. And so that also helped me out a lot, where I was able to make money while at Xavier, but I was also to have my education paid for through that as well. So those are just some great opportunities, especially with also our financial aid office, making sure that our students have all the different opportunities to apply for money as far as like emergency funds, or anything that comes in house like UNCF offers as well.
All right, guys, my last question is my personal question. what made you go to an HBCU? Like, think back to your freshman year. Dr. Provost, you got to think back a little bit longer. I'm sorry. But think back to your freshman year. What made you make that decision? I'm sure you had other choices, other opportunities. I know you looked other places, but what made you make that final decision? What made you know you were doing that?
For me, my dad graduated from Grambling State University. My mom went to Harris Stowe Teachers College. So I'm a second generation HBCU graduate. So I already knew. My dad told me when he went to Grambling, he was like, "You going to HBCU?" Now I got into USC. I got into St. Louis University. I actually got a full ride into St. Louis University. I got a full tuition scholarship to USC. But my dad kept stressing to me. He was like, "You need to go to an HBCU." He kept saying it. My mom was kind of like, "You can stay at home. You can go to St. Louis University. It's a good school." But I kind of listened to my dad because he would wear his grandma and stuff everywhere. And I was like, he's really into this school. And like I said, I went to a predominantly white high school. So I didn't really, have a feeling each way. But um, when I went, my one of my best friends went to SOAR, which is a program for the summer at Xavier. She went to SOAR and spent the summer, and all she did was come back and brag about Xavier. And I was like, she was really impressed. So I just followed her. I was like, I'm gonna go to HBCU. So when I went there, I'm not gonna lie, the HBCU experience is something different. Okay, so you have to have a different mindset because it's gonna be a lot of obstacles. But at the end, once you graduate, you feel like it's nothing you can't do. You're so confident. So the reason why I decided to go is because of my parents. So that's the main reason why I decided to go ahead and choose HBCU.
Okay. My reason for attending an HBCU was also because of my parents. Both of my parents both graduated from Xavier University. So they always told me about the importance of going to HBCU. And then I also went to like their homecoming for Xavier, and I also did SOAR. So after I did SOAR, I really liked the HBCU experience as well. So then I just started applying to different HBCUs. I remember the first one I got into, I think it was FAMU. Then I toured FAMU, and then FAMU, I love FAMU's campus. Their business school was also like very good. They have a very good business program, and then also the 5-year MBA program. So that's what made me choose FAMU in particular. But I've always wanted to go to HBCU, basically from the influence of my parents, and I'm very pleased with my decision.
I also went because of my mom. So my mom went to Xavier. She had me at Xavier during finals. So my birthday was always during finals. Um, so she went. She always pushed us to go. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply so this lady can stop hounding me. I got into University of Oregon. My dad was able to give me in-state tuition there and a scholarship. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to Oregon. Then Xavier came with a full ride. So I was like, oh, I'm going to Xavier. So my mom and the money is why I chose to go to Xavier. And I do not regret my decision as well. I stayed there for my master's and I would go back if I could.
For me, since I'm from Mississippi, only HBCUs you hear about is Jackson State, and a lot of different ones like that. So from the area I'm at, that's all everybody talked about was JSU, JSU. But I end up going to a PWI community college to start off. I played baseball there, and through some different things, and I was just talking with my dad, and this was right after COVID had happened. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I can go back there or I can go somewhere else. And I actually got a call from the coach who was here at the time to come and see about Xavier, and I never really knew about Xavier. I knew I drove past it, but I never really knew the rich history that Xavier has to offer. I always knew that HBCUs were good schools. I just went where I had opportunity to play baseball at, and so when I had the opportunity to come and see what Xavier had to offer, it was a hands down decision because I found out that it was something that I was missing in my academic experience. I didn't realize it until I stepped foot on the campus and I actually saw what it meant to be a Xavierite and what it meant to actually be at an HBCU. And so I would never trade my decision in for the world. And that's why I'm going back to here, this institution, to get my master's of public health, because I think it's very important to pour back in where you have also gone, but also gain as much knowledge as you can where you are, to go out and overflow what you have gained to those who are around.
Well, thank you guys so much. I think I got done a little bit early. Is there anything, I don't want to leave any thoughts that are on your heart. I'd love for our Bishop Lynch community, whether they listen to it later, at some point. We're going to encourage it in our Pan Africa Club meeting. So, is there any final thoughts you guys want to share that I haven't covered that's on your heart that you just would love to share with the Bishop Lynch community or anyone who watches this?
Well, I would encourage any student that if you're doing the time of application process, this is the application process time where you're applying for schools. I just encourage you to apply to HBCU. Um, I can't express how much it has to offer us, our community. I wish they could do a study on the success rate of graduates from HBCUs versus PWIs, because I know for a fact we knock it out the park. I mean, the type of people, I graduated from Xavier, and I pledged Delta Sigma Theta, so I'm a Delta. And so when I list my sorority sisters as far as what they do, I mean, I think I have 56 line sisters, and I think 50 of us are doctors. Okay, so that's 50 out of 56. Um, and they are in all different types of fields. Like here in Dallas, my line sister is the head transplant surgeon at Medical City. I have a doctor. I mean, my line sister is at Syracuse University, the head of their diversity and inclusion department. She used to be the dean of the communications dean at Texas Southern. I mean, I can't even go. I have a line sister now who I had Sadia mentor. She is an attorney and an accountant, and uh, she's over the House of Representatives in the White House, their finance department. Like the House of Representatives, the members have to have certain rules that tell them what they can and cannot invest in as politicians. And she's over that whole thing. I mean, she's working in the White House. So, I mean, I could go on and on about the type of connections and the type of people that graduate from HBCU. So, I would say, like, people think that you're getting a secondary education, they think that you're going to a party school, but actually you're going with the best of the best, really. I mean, to be honest, that's why HBCUs are becoming more diversified now, because a lot of other groups are coming to HBCUs because they see the value, the cost, and the type of education you get compared to other schools. So I would just encourage you to choose one and apply and go visit. You just, I can't express enough the advantages of going to HBCU.
So it sounds like y'all are telling us to go visit Xavier in the spring this year. It sounds like that's what you're telling us to go visit.
If you go, you can also see Dillard there. So you said you hit 2 and 1. I know I'm not supposed to rep Dillard, but they gave me a job. That was a connection right there. So, and I would also say, I don't know if the students are aware, but there is it's like Common App, but it's just for HBCUs. It's called Common Black College App, I think it's called. And that lets you apply to all the HBCUs and just apply, see what you get. You never know what acceptance you get, your scholarships you get. And like everyone's been saying today, you will not regret your decision in your choice. We want to keep speaking every year about it, if you would.
Well, that's all my questions, guys. Thank you, Tony, so much for putting this on. I know that our students will benefit from this. So I'm very thankful to all of you guys for sharing your information. I have not heard about a lot about Xavier, so for me it was really eye-opening. I felt the same way last year when we went in August to Austin. It was awesome. I don't think our kids pay attention as much as they need to the opportunities because they're kids, but we really enjoy hearing from you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you do go to New Orleans, make sure you say Xavier because they will correct you when you go. Just to let you know. Because Xavier is the one in Ohio that we always get confused with. So that's why I had to settle the dust. Have a good night, y'all.